It is a victory to know when to retreat. And retreat is not a defeat. It is merely a strategic withdrawal to gather strength and resources. Welcome, Impact Community. I am Coach Selena here for your weekly mini coaching session. This is your chance to retreat during your busy, hectic week. It's your chance to step away from the hustle and bustle and busy and overwhelm that you are facing right now. And I am really glad that you are here too. You deserve a retreat. You deserve the chance to withdraw and gather the resources and strategy you need to keep making a wonderful impact in the world. And that is what I'd like to chat with you about for a few minutes now. What's the importance of retreat? I'd love to share with you a couple of Bible stories that I think illustrate this spiritual need for a retreat so well, and then give you a couple of tips for how you can work retreat into your everyday life. Are you ready? I'm really excited to share this with you. When I first was thinking about retreat, what is a retreat? And that it's that opportunity to not just go away and hide, but to get what you need to step out of the hustle and bustle and shuffle of every day, to get the sustenance that you need to return to battle. My first thought was about a battle story in the Old Testament. I'm going to take you back to in 1 Samuel chapter 14, verses 24 through 46. This is a story about King Saul and his son Jonathan and the Israelites. You guys, King Saul was king of Israel he was the first king of Israel. And I don't know if you know this, but he was not a confident king. He was selected by God. He was called. He was put into service to be the first king of Israel. And the whole time, the guy has some major imposter syndrome. He's convinced the whole time that he's really not the right person for the job. He's small of stature. He doesn't look like a king. He's not from the right tribe or the right community. He's just the whole time questioning himself and questioning God that put him in this place, and living so much of his life and leading so much of his community from a place of fear. All the time being in fear. Jonathan, however, was a really confident guy. He was a warrior and a battler and a fierce dude. And Jonathan had so much confidence. Not overconfidence. He wasn't arrogant, but he's like, I know what I'm good at. I know that I can do it. I know that God has called me to this, and I'm ready and able, and you tell me where, God, and I will show up with my abilities. So just picture these two people, right, in a relationship together. King Saul is leading the Israelites into this fierce battle against the Philistines, and you guys, it is not going well. And here's Saul coming from a place of fear and grasping, and I don't know what I'm going to do, and I gotta do anything that I can do to take care of this situation. I'm gonna handle it, and I'm in control. And so, hey, all of you warriors, I want you to fast until God gives us this victory. They're in a heavy battle. They are like hand-to-hand combat. What happens when we don't eat? I'm going to tell you, when I don't eat, it is not good. Our energy gets low. We shut down. Our thinking gets muddy. And we're just not at our best. Saul's decisions out of fear was putting the Israelites in a rough place and trying to manipulate God. Jonathan, he didn't hear this request that none of the Israelites eat. He didn't hear it. He's out there fighting, and he takes sustenance that he needs. Jonathan eats some honey and gets revived. Listen to this part in verse 27. Jonathan had not heard his father charge the people with the oath. So he put out the tip of the staff that was in his hand, dipped it in the honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth. And his eyes became bright. He took a moment away from the battle, took the sustenance and resources he needed, and his eyes became bright. Well, then everyone around him said, whoa, 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 we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to keep pushing, and not taking a break and not getting extra resources. Jonathan said in verse 29, my father has troubled the land. See how my eyes have become bright because I tasted a little of this honey. How much better if the people had eaten freely today of the spoil of their enemies that they found. For now, the defeat among the Israelites, it's not been great. In other words, you guys, I know you're fantastic warriors. You don't have all the resources that you need to defeat this enemy. It's not going great because you aren't taking away, you aren't stepping back, retreating, and getting the resources and sustenance you need in order to keep fighting the good fight. There's more to that story, and I encourage you to check and read out and look in 1 Samuel chapter 14 and find out more of the things that are happening around this story. But I want you to grasp onto this part, that Saul was so caught up in fear that he said, just keep going, keep doing, keep pushing, keep fighting. Don't take a break. Don't eat. Jonathan eats a little bit of the resources that were provided from this battle, this honey. He becomes re-energized, and how much more powerful can he then be to go back into the battlefield with his people? Let's take this now to a New Testament story. Another one that popped into my head immediately when thinking about the idea of retreat is the story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. This is, I'm looking at Matthew chapter 26, verses 36 through 46 is when Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane. But let me kind of set the table for you for this section as well. This is the week of the Passion of the Christ. This is the last week of Jesus' life. He is about to enter his own battle, a very different battle than Saul and Jonathan and the Israelites in those days, but a very tough battle, a battle in which Jesus is going to lose his earthly life. That part of his life is going to end at the end of this week. And he's about to enter into this. He has just had his last supper with his beloved friends and disciples, and he's telling them and explaining to them, this is what I came here to do. This is what's going to happen this next week. This is how I am preparing you. I'm like pouring my leadership into you right now. And this is what's coming this week. And this is what I need you to do from here on out. Immediately after the supper, Jesus goes away. He retreats into the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. This is a totally different type of sustenance, isn't it? He steps away and he prays, and these are gut-wrenching, heart-opening, rendering prayers, just pleading with the Lord, saying, Lord, I know what's coming and it's scary and going to be hard, and I would love it if you could take it away from me. I know that you can't. So help me, be with me, give me everything I need to enter into this tough time. Jesus asked his disciples to pray with him. They fall asleep. You guys, there's a difference between retreating and withdrawing. Jesus is retreating because he knows what's coming. He knows what sustenance and resources he needs. And so he's intentionally pulling away to get the sustenance that he needs. His disciples are kind of clueless, as they often are. And they just are like, cool, I'm tired, it's nap time. take a nap right here, because they still don't really understand what is laying ahead. Are you seeing what a retreat is? Let me tell you what a retreat is not. A retreat is not surrendering, just saying, ugh, I give up. It just is what it is. A retreat is not avoiding. It's not saying, I can't deal with this, I need to leave, I need to go somewhere else. A retreat is not hiding. It's not shoving something away or under a rock. And a retreat is not denying. It's not saying, it's not denying the things that are happening or the difficulty that's coming up. What a retreat is, it is eyes wide open. It's saying, remove the scales from my eyes, Lord. Show me, give me perspective on what's coming. A retreat is receiving sustenance, not necessarily a nap or a manicure or a pedicure or massage. A retreat is receiving sustenance. What are those things that are going to nourish and feed you? That's a retreat. A retreat is filling you up for what is needed for the godly tasks that you have ahead. You have godly tasks ahead of you. I know it. The Lord is entrusting things to you. And a retreat is the time to pull back to assess, what am I going to need in this next season? How can I nourish myself? How can I get nourishment from the Lord? What resources are going to get me able to face this next task ahead? And so retreat is so necessary, and you are so deserving because God is calling you to big things. God's calling you to big things. So you need to retreat to be ready, to have the sustenance, to have the resources, to be prepared for what lays ahead. So how can you intentionally find some retreat time? I'm going to tell you that you can do it as easily as just finding a half a day, a couple hours, some place where you can carve out that time. And you're going to have to make it happen. I know I do. You have to make the time ahead of time when that's going to happen. Otherwise, it's going to be eaten away and it's going to flitter away. There are so many to-dos and emergencies that will come up. You've got to prioritize this time to pull away, to retreat, and really put prayer around it. Consider what's going to nourish you on a soul level, and connect with community as much as possible. Both Jonathan and this retreat story was around community. Jesus was also around community. The community was participating or not participating in the retreat in different ways, but a community can be very helpful in getting you the things that you need for a retreat. So I encourage you to make that time in your calendar before this busy fall season is coming up, where you can retreat, nourish yourself on the soul and self and spiritual levels so that you can have everything that you need for what's coming ahead. And you guys already know this. We have a wonderful retreat coming up for the Impact community. It is the Design Your Life retreat. We're hosting it on Mount Magazine this year in the beautiful state of Arkansas for a lovely fall weekend, September 15th through the 17th, a Friday dinner through Sunday lunch. This is perfectly designed for you to be able to get that soul level nourishing that you need to be prepared, and also time to really figure out, what is God calling me to in the next year? What goals can I lay out? And what calling does God have on my life? And what do I need to be prepared to live that out and truly make an impact in my community and in my space? Friend, you deserve a retreat, and I encourage you to make the time for one. Be sure to drop any questions you might have about our Design Your Life retreat below, or share your favorite idea for how to take a retreat.